नाचीज कुछ जिक्र के बाद हम क्लास का आगाज करेंगे। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा, अल वाहिदुल कहार, अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। या मुश्किल कुशा मेहरबान मौला, मदद फरमा, मदद फरमा, मदद फरमा। तौफीक, ताईद, हिम्मत व यारी मौला, मदद फरमा, मदद फरमा। शुक्रन लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्रन लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। Once again, Yari Madad to all friends online. We have gathered today to be talking about Angelicity, the concept of how to become an angel. And remember, this lecture actually is based on different questions which were received. If we were to talk about the concept of angel as per se, there is a lot more to learn. But this last time lecture and today's lecture, it is actually trying to take care of all the frequent questions which I receive related to this topic. So do remember that these two lectures have been inspired by the questions you have sent it to Najis. So let us start today the part 2. Once again, I would like to truly offer my gratitude to friends who do ask questions. So today is the part 2, and we need to review what we did the last time. But I will do the review with Farmans. Last time we did a bunch of Farmans. Today we will also review the last session by reviewing different Farmans. So this is the first Farman I would like to share with you all. Last class we had reviewed only Faramins which were given to us in general majlis. But today I am sharing with you Baitul Khayal Farman, and there is an objective to do that. There's a reason. Remember, we all are wondering how to become an angel. And one of the very important practice for us is Nurani times Ibadat, Baitul Khayal Ibadat. So we are going to review today Baitul Khayal Farman to learn this concept of becoming an angel in the light of the Faramin of Baitul Khayal. So this is the Farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this is in Roman Gujarati. So I'll read it for you first. મુખી કરવાળી અને ખાસ પંજે ભાઈઓને કહીએ છીએ તમો જલ્દી ખુદાના દીદારને પહોંચો અને આ ક્રિયાઓ ઉપર અમલ કરો. So Mola is sitting in Baitul Khayal Mandli and he is saying that I do want you to get to Imam's Didar very fast. Hurry up. But then he says, I do want you to work on these following things. And those following things are, Mola says, Je khotu na bolvu, ninda na karvi, kharab vastu na vaparvi, કાર ક્રોધ ના કરવું, સ્પર્શ ઇન્દ્રિય વશ રાખવી, અર્થાત બદનજર ના કરવી, દરેક ઠેકાણે ખુદાને હાજર સમજવું, સંગત સારા જ્ઞાની માણસની કરવી, બીજા કોઈની ના કરવી, લોભ, લુચ્ચાઈ, ખોટી સાક્ષી, આપ હત્યા, બાળ હત્યા, ચોરી વગેરેથી દૂર રહેવાનું છે. So in my own words, I am sharing with you that Mola in this Farman is actually talking about purification of deeds. This is Baitul Khayal Farman. And Imam is talking about purification of deeds, and he refers to don't lie, do not gossip, don't be keeping anger in your heart or jealousy, all negativity, greed, any kind of sinning. Mola is talking about it here. And then he also says that keep the friendship with the people who have knowledge. This is Mola's instructions, following his indication to us that we need to hurry up to be one with the Imam. So in the context of us wanting to become an angel, these are Imam's instructions for us for Baitul Khayal Mandli, that we need to purify our deeds, then only we can get to the Didar. In order to get the Didar, do purify your deeds. That's how Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah is giving us this Farman in Baitul Khayal Mandli. Now let us review Hazi Imam's Farman. Now this Farman is long Farman, so I've kind of cut into pieces. And this is Maulana Hazi Imam again giving us this Farman into Baitul Khayal Mandli. So we really need to pay attention to these words because it is Baitul Khayal Farman. Maula says, I would also like to add that when you fulfill these responsibilities, you are doing or seeking to do something which is for the benefit of all, including yourselves. Now, what are those responsibilities? That you should have pure souls and clean hearts is fundamental to you, but it is also as fundamental to the Jamaat. Fundamental in the sense that you will live cleanly, properly, and as you should in relation to your families, your Jamaats, and the country in which you are living. So Imam is expecting us to be ethical all the way. Living with our families, within our Jamaat, in our country, we have to have a pure soul and clean hearts. And Maula says that is fundamental for us. Again, remember this is Baitul Khayal Farman. In order for us to succeed in Ibadat, this is Maula's instructions. And here I wanted to quote a Ginan, and I was not able to find the words. If any one of you have it, do share it with me. It is about lotus flower. Kawal ka phool hamesha कीचड़ में उगता है. The lotus flower will always be surrounded by dirty water. So the reason I wanted to share this Farman, some time ago when I had shared this Farman to a friend, and the friend said, oh, you don't even realize the country we live in is so corrupt that we cannot, even if we want to be a good person, we cannot be. And our peers have given this example in Ginans that if you want to be a Mumin, we have to be like a lotus flower surrounded by dirty water, but lotus is lotus. So given that example, Imam is expecting us. This is Imam's farman for us, and we are Maula's murid. We have to be farman bardar. Maula is saying, regardless wherever you are, you got to have pure souls and clean hearts. Why? So you can elevate in your Baitul Khiyal. Then Maula says, and if you fulfill your material responsibilities and you are ethical in your material lives, it will improve the general conditions of the Jamaat and it will improve yourselves. Because he who cheats, he who lies, he who behaves in an immoral manner, what is he doing? He is harming not only himself but also the Jamaat. In other words, this Jamaati member is behaving like an animal. It's all instinctual behavior. Me, me, me. So it is having a soul, having an Imam, being an Ismaili, but living like an animal. A human, if we were to look at that person, they look like a human, but their behavior is of an animal. And then Maula says, and if you want to be well aware, and I want you to be well aware that in fulfilling your spiritual and your physical or material responsibilities as you should, you are not only improving your own personal condition, but you are improving that of the Jamaat as a whole. Here, this Mumin-i Salik is the one who is behaving like an angel. If the one Jamaati member follows Imam's farman, this Mumin, we would say, is on the path of becoming an angel. And none of you must forget that in your own areas, you are in position of responsibilities. When we become Baitul Khiyal members, we are wherever we are in position of responsibilities. And those who have been given responsibilities must fulfill this responsibility. Those who have been given responsibility must fulfill this responsibility. Otherwise, they are misleading themselves, they are misleading the Jamaat, and they are misleading the Imam. And I want you to remember this. I hope we are realizing what Imam is saying here. If the Imam has placed his trust and his confidence in you, fulfill that trust and that confidence. This is Baitul Khiyal Farman, Bombay, India, November 27th, 1973. By reviewing these two Farmans, we have reviewed actually last class session in a very brief manner, but these two Faramins are new for us. We had not discussed this in the last class, and these are Baitul Khiyal Farman. So remember, in Jamaat, we somehow pay more attention to Baitul Khiyal and not other areas of our life. So these Faramins were specially chosen to help us realize that these are Baitul Khiyal Farman. Baitul Khiyal is not separate from our lives. It is part of our life. Baitul Khiyal member is a Baitul Khiyal member for 24 hours, not just for 1 hour. So having said that, let us see what our peers are telling us. Our peer is saying, Jire Vira Pak to Sahib Jinu Naam che, tene jampiye saas usas. Durma dekho, dil mahe vase, jim champa fool mahe vas. Dear brothers, the name of the Imam is holy and true. Remember it upon every breath. So when we say this verse, if Imam is with us, how do we sense that? How do we realize that he's present, he's always with us, he's in our heart? And Pir is giving example. Imam is present with us just like the presence of fragrance in flower. We can't see it with our physical eyes, but we smell. We have the sense which tells us that there is a beautiful fragrance coming from that flower. If we want to be following the Imam, wanting his didar, want to become an angel, we need to stay in remembrance in every breath. I hope we all now very well know remembrance means zikr, and zikr means it can be with Isme Azam in Betul Khal time, it can be with Tasbihat during different times, it is ilmi ibadat. All these are different types of zikr a Mumin-i Salik needs to do for 24 hours. Then the Pir is saying that we will realize the presence of our Imam as if fragrance in the flower. And this is the next verse in which a question was asked that when Pir says, Jire vira rome rome maro shah vase ane antar nathi ek dil. Evu janine bhaktai kijiye shah partak baitha dil. The word partak literally means that somebody sitting right in front of you are seeing each other. That's the very high level of didar when we see in our spirituality that Imam is sitting right in front of us. But before that, Pir is saying, within every hair of my body, my Lord resides. And in this context, when I mentioned that in every cell of our body, we have soul. And a friend had asked how and what do you mean? So we are going to go into detail of this to understand today. What does that mean? So Mawla is not far away from us. Every follicle of our hair in our cells, it is so near the way we feel hair in our body. Imam is that near to us. If he is near, then what is it that is not, that we don't recognize, we don't realize that Imam is with us so near? If we also have this hair in our body, and Pir also had this hair in their body, and Pir is saying that Rome Rome Maru Shahavase, do we not have that same body that when we say hair, why don't we see every particle of soul? Imam is there. The question here one can ask, the souls which are present in the every cell of our being, is that soul awake, functioning, sleeping? What is that soul doing? Something to think and reflect. And we will talk about it today. We will go into detail of that. So this is the fanciest picture of our cell. Look at all the labelings. We are not in the science class, but I just wanted to show it to you that it is years of studies. Scientists have done it, and they have been able to see all this colorful component of cell. We're not going to go into that. But the point here I would like us to understand is that there is a years of studies behind this to be able to understand all the functioning. Do remember that this is the example from the physical world. So this is the nucleus. Nucleus in the physical body, in the cell, the life is here, and that gives the energy, the functioning of the cells in our body. And when I say cell, what does that mean? When we walk, our cells are working in our legs. When I see, our cells are working in our eyes. So cells are working, that's why we are able to do what we are doing in our physical life. Remember that cells are everywhere in our body. Heart is beating, it's because of the cells functioning. When the cells don't function, then we say we are sick. Now, this is an example given to us for us to understand. Now, in Quran, chapter 41, verse 53, chapter 41, verse 53 says, Sanurihim ayatina fil afaki wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana lahum annahu al-haqq. Meaning, we will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. This is Allah's Farman, that Allah will continue to show us the signs outside in the universe and within ourselves until we reach to that reality, that truth, that guidance is given to us. So when we look at this physical cell, which is functioning, it's an example of a human cell, it's a physical example. But when we talk of this life within this nucleus, within this cell, there is a hidden part of soul within it. Every cell has a soul. Ruh ka zarra, particle, zarra, is present here, which is invisible. We don't see it. You don't see my soul. I'm alive. But as soon as I die, my soul leaves my body. I'm dead. Similarly, in every cell, there is a soul, particle of the soul, zarra, which is called. But it is invisible. So we are calling it nucleus because that's what we can see through microscope. But in reality, there is a soul. Due to that, this cell is functioning. So we reviewed the chapter 41, verse 53. Now we understand. We are able to see with our physical eyes that there is a human cell which is visible. After years of studies, doctors, scientists, they are able to see it through microscope. Each cell in our body gets food. When whatever we eat, nutrition is given to our body. When we eat right food, healthy food, our cells in the body, they function well. For example, if we eat well-balanced diet, nobody will end up with high blood pressure or diabetes or whatever diseases. When we don't eat right, one will see the diseases over the period of time. There's a sickness, there's disease. So either one would have visible health or sickness or disease. This is again a physical example. Now let us take same principles. Remember, principles are same. One is misal and other is mamsul. Mamsul is the essence, the hasil, but misal is an example. When we talk of the spiritual part of our soul, that particle of soul which is present in this cell, in this nucleus, that is called actually the proper term, the proper name is Zarrate Ruh, which is particle of soul. What is the food for that soul, the particle of the soul? It is askar. The word askar is a plural of zikr. Zikr is singular, askar is plural. When the soul is nourished with zikr, which is remembrance, plural is askar, what will happen? It will be a healthy soul. If one lives without any remembrance, over a period of time, one will see sickness and disease. So again, when someone is living with remembrance, the way our peers said, every breath, we will see visible spiritual health. As opposed to that, we will see spiritual diseases. Lobh, moh, kam, krodh, jealousy, all that which we read in the beginning in the Farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, Baitul Khyam Farman. All those diseases will be there in that soul because that soul is without the zikr. Without any food, there's a sickness. There's no health. Now, I hope we all recall in last session, we had done a Farman, which was harsh Farman, where Imam had called those who come and ask questions to Imam about not being able to focus during Ibadat. Imam calls them donkeys. Now here, I do want to clarify. One may develop a fear that what if it makes the one who's asking feel like a donkey? We will have to remember that we are in a safe environment. We all are seekers and we are trying to learn here. Remember, this Farman is shared in the context of a question, why we are not able to focus in Ibadat. When this question was asked to Imam, Imam had responded in this Farman. So this question that why we are not able to focus in Ibadat has been asked by several friends different times. When we reflect on this Farman, surely these friends who are asking this question, they are sitting in Baitul Khyam. They are doing this Ibadat. even then they feel there is something missing, something they are not doing. And I hope that all sharing of this Farmans and Ginans, we are reflecting and identifying what is lacking, because that work we have to do it individually. Remember Hazimam's Farman that we can take a horse to the water. No one can force the horse to drink the water. And in response to horse asking or showing hunger, water is shown. But to drink water or not, it depends on the free will of the horse. We need to understand that analogy Imam has given. Now, if you were to ask me, that you had asked me this question, what do I think? And I would say, Mubarakbad to you all. Truly Mubarakbad to you all. And why do I say that? To have this desire to learn through knowledge cannot be possible if you are not sitting in Ibadat or Bandagi. Here, we don't see the whole Jamaat. There are very select few Jamaati members who are here with this desire to learn through knowledge, have the desire to elevate and grow. And that's why this question is asked, because we do lack in knowledge, and that's why that question was asked. Now, being here, wanting to learn through knowledge is actually an indication of success of Ismaili. I'm going to repeat myself. Being here, wanting to learn is an indication of success of Ismaili. It is the fruit or results of your Nurani time ibadat. When a Mumin-i Salik does sit in ibadat or bandagi, remembers Mawla, surely there will be change in that moment. There will be interest. Having this interest itself is an indication of being on the path. Path of what? Becoming an angel. Listening to ilm of Ginan is one of the angelistic characteristics. The food, the desire, the water of angel is only Mawla's name. Those who takes notes, pay attention, are the characteristics of angels because they want to learn and grow. So again, I would say Mubarakbad to you who had asked this question. Mubarakbad on your success. Now, what is next? Is this light? Is this destination? No, surely not. Ilm wali ruh darja ba darja upar chadhti hai. When we have knowledge, we climb the ladder step by step. Now, before I go into detail of these questions I'm asking myself with you, is this light or is this the destination? Let us review Hazri Imam's Farman. Maulana Hazri Imam, in his Baitul Khayal Farman, Maula is saying, I do not want my spiritual children to think that the failure to find that light the first time you practice bandagi, or the 10th time, or the 100th time, I do not want you to think that the failure to find that light is a failure. Because there is no such thing as a failure in bandagi. You cannot fail. Please hear Imam's word. You cannot fail. Sometimes murids have come to me and they have said, Hazri Imam, we have failed. We have been practicing bandagi for X numbers of years. We have failed. And the first thing I have said to those murids, you have not failed. Because there is no such failure, no such thing as failure. And why is there no such thing as a failure? Imam is asking on our behalf and answering too. Simply because you tend to associate the practice of bandagi with the right to find that light. That is an association that people make in their minds. Don't make it. Do not make it. If you sit in bandagi, that is a blessing. If you find that light, that is a blessing. If you don't find that light, that is not evil. That is not a mistake. That is not bad. And therefore, every time you practice bandagi, practice it in happiness, in humility, in joy, not in fear, not in apprehension, not in worry. Beautiful Farman responding to all the questions we are asking. Now here, I specifically like to draw your attention to the last part of Maula's Farman. When Maula is telling us that you sit in bandagi in happiness, in humility, one who has hasad in the heart, the one who stays angry, has greed in the heart, that Mumin will not be happy. They are always wondering what is the other person is doing, constantly comparing with the other person. Heart like those will not experience humility. Humility is the most important criteria for Baitul Khiyal. Joy, how can a person experience the joy if their heart is filled with jealousy in the heart, gossip, judgment for other people? That heart cannot experience any joy. Fear will be there because they are under the influence of carnal soul. So remember, Imam is giving the same criteria what Hazrat Sultan Muhammad Shah gave us. Imam's words were different because Jamaat was not educated at that time. Imam is very clearly saying, donkey-like people. Why? Because Imam is referring to animal characteristics. So Jamaat could understand. Hazrat Imam is saying the same thing, but the words are different. Why? Because Jamaat is very educated. Jamaat does not need to be told like that. Imam knows that Jamaat understands. Jamaat knows what is accountability, what is responsibility. But remember, when we talk of light, light is not our right. It is our duty to sit in bandagi because we want to come close to the Noor of Imam. We want to become like an angel. We want to have pure souls, clean hearts. And that's why we have Isme Azam and we practice bandagi. And Imam is saying there is no failure. So there's no need to have any fear in our heart. It is all success. Mubarakbad to those who sit in bandagi. This Farman is from Vancouver, Canada, 24th August 1992. So again, this particle of the soul we are talking about. So when we talk of this particle of soul, the question is, what is the status of that soul which is present in that cell? Is the soul awake or is it sleeping? Prophet Muhammad, there's a hadith by Prophet Muhammad in which he says, Al-arwahu junudum mujannada. The word mujannada means frozen state of soul. Prophet is calling the army of the soul to awaken from that frozen state. So the soul which are present in every cell of our being, Rome maro shah vase. For Pir, yes, it was, because every soul, every zarra of the soul was awake and was doing the zikr. But then those who do not follow the farami, the soul is there because we are alive, we are breathing. But that soul is in the state of sleeping. It is called khabinda. Khabinda is a Persian word. The state of that soul is khabinda. In Arabic, it is mujannada, which means frozen state. And why that frozen state? Because there is lack of nourishment. It has not been fed. Fed meaning what? Zikr, remembrance. If one is not doing the zikr, there is no nourishment reaching to the particle of the soul. So it is sleeping. The way Peer has told us, Eji koi jan suta ne koi jan jage, banda koi kare kamai. Now we can talk about this individual member in the Jamaat. Remember Maula Ali's call. You think of yourself as a small being, one individual, Maula says, the whole universe is within you. And that universe is how within us? Every particle of the soul, the whole universe in its essence is within our being too. But it is khabinda. Until it is sleeping, the carnal soul overpowers it. And remember, the reason of sleeping state, it's because of lack of remembrance, lack of zikr. And remember that zikr is very broad. So we all are hoping, we are on the path of becoming Mumin-i Salik. Salik who walks. Mumin is all Jamaat because we are follower of the Imam. It's Imam's mercy. We all are called Mumins. But Mumin, if he or she is in a sleeping state of soul, there is no progress. It has to be Mumin-i Salik who walks on the path. So let us have this comparison so we can understand. When we talk of carnal soul or animalistic characteristics, what does that mean? And again, all these characteristics are given for us to have this check individually to see where do we stand. Thoughts are worldly, worldly desires, actions are worldly, cheating, lying, judging, gossiping, etc. Following all the rituals in Jamaat Khana, focusing on attendance, all at Shariati level. Khidmat of Jamaat is done too, but for what reason? For name or fame. Zikr is also done, but like a parrot, to feel good, to be seen as good. Zikr of tongue, not knowing any meaning, not knowing meaning at a higher level, not doing Giriya Ozari. Knowledge of Tariqah at a very superficial level. There is no knowledge of mugs, essence, or taw'il. Again, if we were to look at these characteristics, these are also in darjat. Now, those who want to become an angel, what would be the characteristics for them? Remember, everything happens gradually. It's a process. We cannot say that today one is under the influence of carnal soul and tomorrow they'll become an angel. Nothing happens like that. Everything is a process. Those who are walking on the path of becoming an angel, are they on the path of transforming themselves? Are they seeing the change? It is a gradual process, but is it in action? Is it happening or not? Actions of that Mumin-i Salik are focused on fulfillment of Imam's Farman, submitting oneself in Imam's huzur is their obedience. Zikr is going on for 24 hours. Through tasbihah, through Baitul Khayal Ibadat, through personal search, learning, reflecting, listening to lecture, writing notes. All these are part of remembrance. Purification of actions, purification of thoughts, desire to learn and grow, regardless of any and every limitation. Let it be age, language, time, whatever limitation, regardless of any limitation. For a Mumin-i Salik who wants to become like an angel, there is no limitation for that Mumin-i Salik. Why? Because that Mumin has firm belief in Imam. Imam will make it possible for me. That's the belief of a Mumin-i Salik. He or she is not doing it. It is Imam's mercy. Now, whenever we talk of angels in different lectures, whenever we hear about angels, we would listen to this verse because this verse is in Quran talking about angels, about wings. It is Surah Fatir, chapter 35, verse 1, which says, "Praise be to Allah who created the heavens and the earth, who made the angels. messengers with wings, 2 or 3 or 4. He adds to creation as he pleases. For Allah has power over all things. उस अल्लाह के लिए तमाम तारीफें, उस अल्लाह के लिए तमाम तारीफें जो आसमानों और जमीन का बनाने वाला है, 2-2, 3, 4-4 परों वाले फरिश्तों को अपना पैगंबर बनाने वाला, मखलूक में जो चाहे ज्यादती करता है, अल्लाह ताला यकीनन हर चीज पर कादिर है. He has power over all the things. Look at this verse very carefully. This is the translation. Surely all the praise are for Allah. He is the one who makes the angels. And these are the angels, they are the messengers with wings. When Mawla makes someone angels, they are messengers. They give the pagam. And they have wings too. And these wings can be 2, 3, or 4. He adds to creation as he pleases. It is not anyone's right. It is his mercy. It is his desire. What is our duty? We follow the Farmans. We fulfill our duties. We submit. It will be his blessing. Whenever he will like it, he will give us the light, and then we will have no doubt. So here there's another understanding that a Mumin-i Salik who follows all the conditions does not complain, is always patient. Whenever we say, oh, we've been doing bandagi for so and so many years, you know what we are doing? We are saying as if we are favoring Mawla. No, that is our duty. How can we even say that? Yes, remember, when we are learning and we are wanting to learn, why am I not progressing? That is a learning question, and we got to ask this question so we can learn. So we are asking this question to learn with humility. Not that, oh, I've been doing this bandagi, why? It is not anybody's right. He adds to creation as he pleases. ये मौला की मर्जी है कि वो कब किसको फरिश्ता बनाता है. मोमिन का काम है फरमान बरदारी. And this is a beautiful quote from Memoirs of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. Angels, they exist, they are reality. Islam acknowledges the existence of angels of great souls who have developed themselves. It is the process of development, and that development is done by themselves. I hope we are paying attention to the highest possible planes of the human soul and higher, and who are centers of the forces which are scattered throughout the universe. When we say center of the forces, do we recall another farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah? That this world will not last if there are no 313 moments. Those 313 moments are the angels. They are the center of the forces which are scattered throughout the universe. This universe would not last if those angels were not to be there, living among ourselves. And this is important farman, which we had reviewed last time. In this farman, I do want to draw attention to this line here. We do need to reflect which station you have reached. Farman of Wadwan Camp, 18th October 1903. And then the believer's vision always is directed to go upward. The aspiration of the believer is such that I may become an angel and reach the status of Jibrail. Mumin-i Salik will not only say that I want to become an angel. No, I want to go further than that, higher than that. That's the ambition, that's the desire of the Mumin, with complete humility and farman bardari. Meaning that Mumin-i Salik is willing to put in such a hard work that this Mumin who is born in Alam-e Nasut is walking on the path to be with Alam and Malkut, be the part of the world of angels, and then continue to go further in Alam and Jabrut, world of archangels. This is where Jibril is. And then comes the oneness, monoreality. This is what Imam is instructing us to do. 1903 Farman. So not just angel, but Jibril. Now, when we talk of wings, wings of angels, we'll have to understand what does this wings mean. When we studied chapter 35, verse 1, wings actually are the names of Allah. One of the beautiful name of Mawla is Al-Wadud. Now, some may think these are two words, but they are not. This is just one word. Al-Wadud, Al-Hay. Al-Wadud means the most loving. Al-Hay, the ever living. This is one wing because it's one name of Allah, right? Then the next name is Allahu Akbar. Allah, the greatest. These are two, Akbar, greatest, and Allah, two names. This is two wings. Al-Hayyul Qayyum, again, two names, Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum, two wings. Then Allahu Maulana Ali. These are three names of Allah. Allah, who is also name of Allah, and Maulana Ali. Allah is Maulana Ali, Ali Allah. These are three wings. And then fourth wing is Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram. These are four names, meaning four wings. So every zikr we do during as tasbih or as Isme Azam, every zikr has its own angel assigned to it. Every word has its own angel assigned to us. When a Mumin Salik continues to fulfill the condition of purifying deeds, staying in remembrance, regular, chokas, alert ibadat, what happens, whatever zikr they are doing, the angel of that word comes to life. What does that mean? Was it dead? No. Remember the state of sleeping. In the beginning, everything is just a word, but every word is actually living word. There is an angel assigned to every name. When a Mumin Salik completes the zikr, that wing is being assigned to that moment to fly as an angel. One may ask, what do you mean complete? We do hear this comment like completion of Isme Azam. Completion is everywhere in the zikr. If we were to do as tasbih or we are doing Isme Azam, there is a completion, the concept of completion. And what does that completion means? It means making that word become alive for you. When Imam says, when I give you my name, this is Isme Azam, that bowl, in that bowl, Imam is coming to us in the form of a spirituality. When we do what we are expected to do, the responsibilities we fulfill, that word becomes alive. The angel of that wing comes to life. Spiritually, we complete that Isme Azam, that zikr, and we get a wing. When one gets wing, what happens? They start flying. How does this happen? How does the flight happen? Then we'll have to understand these terms, kasif and latif. Kasif means density. Our bodies are dense, right? We see our bodies physically, zahir, evident, exoteric, it's all kasif. But when we talk of latif, latif is what? Subtle, transparent or batin or hidden, esoteric, spiritual, that is latif. The process of becoming latif happens particle by particle, zarra by zarra. Particle by particle, each cell, each soul which was in that cell wakes up, awaken, awaken, awaken. When that happens gradually but constantly, what will happen? The wings are assigned and the kasafat changes into latafat, subtlety. And that subtlety, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has said it in his Farman, that if you want to come and meet me, you cannot come to meet me until you have the Nurani Badan. So we have the Zahiri Badan, that kasafat will change into latafat. In our spiritual journey, our soul can come out of our body, fly and meet Maula Baba. How does that happen in our physical world? The first step is certitude of knowledge, ilmul yaqeen. Example of that would be if I have a glass and there is a water, I drink the glass of water and the glass is empty. Is it empty though? No, there is air inside that glass. But because I cannot see air, I presume that the glass is empty. If we understand that example, that means that we need to truly have the certitude of knowledge to be able to know how can we realize our own soul, how can we see our own spiritual progress, which is only possible through ilmul yaqeen, certitude of knowledge. Remember, Imam's duash is with us. Nothing is impossible for a Mumin-i Salik. So to conclude, this is the beautiful diagram. If you were to understand, in the beginning, everything is physical. We live in the world of Nasut, everything is physical. Zikr is also from the tongue. But if we were to do that, that is also a part of fana. It is first annihilation. There is a part of fana. And then when we continue the process, continue to fana particle by particles, cell by cell, we get into the world of spirituality. Zikr is hidden. How it is hidden? Because that Mumin-i Salik is now in remembrance all the time. They live in this world, but surati akashe jai. They live in this world, but their dhyan, their mind, their thoughts are in remembrance. And then, if we continue to go on the path, surely the alam of alam-e-Jabrut, Jabruti alam, divine attributes, that is also possible for us because Imam has said in his Farman. So to end my session, I would say this is possible for us. This is possible for a Mumin-i Salik. Eji pankhadiya jo hove to shahne jai milu, shu karu maru pindru nahat. If I had wings, then I would go and meet my Maula. If I had wings, I would go and meet my Maula. What can I do? It is not in my hands. What does that mean? It is not in my hands. That am I not able to do it? No, not at all. I am able to do it. We are capable of doing it. We do take all the required actions and fulfill our responsibilities. To get the wings, it is His mercy, not our right. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah, shukran lillah walhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. We have few questions in the chat.
Ji.
Question is, so the speed with which we achieve oneness, didar or asal mewasil, depends on the number of wings we get in our bowl?
Yes and no. Yes, you're right that if we bring our Isma Azam we complete our Isma Azam, we do get wings. But remember, when you say bowl, then I fear some may limit that remembrance to 1 hour of ibadat of Nurani time. Emphasis is for a Mumin-i Salik, ibadat for 24 hours. And there is another concept which we should talk about, otherwise it will be incomplete answer. That is why I said no. When we start the journey to purify ourselves from all the aspects, all the conditions which I talked about, One has to have time to learn the knowledge. One has to do the zikr during the daytime, different zikr. We cannot have only focusing on one zikr. We need to do askar because every name is a living name. What happens when we have multitude of askar we are doing, it gives us that boost during the time of Nurani Ibadat to fly quickly. We need angels to help us to elevate ourselves within that Nurani time Ibadat. So when you say just bowl, you're limiting yourself. Yes, the bowl is the word, which is the Isme Azam given to us by Maula's Mukh Mubarak. Very powerful name. In order for that job to become a Jampia job, to stay for 24 hours, we do need other remembrance in the beginning until we reach to that stage. So be very clear about the distinction of zikr. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Next question is in the light of the Farman, Baitul Khayal Farman of Maulana Hazar Imam. Are you saying seeing light during Ruhani time is not the only way to say, to confirm success of Isme Azam? If so, what are some of the other signs beside waking up for Bandagi or attending Ilmi classes?
There are very many signs, very many signs. Ruhaniyat is very long journey and their signs are unlimited. If in our physical world we have so many signs, how come in the spiritual world the signs would be limited? No, there are very many signs. To give you some signs, one sign I gave it to you, that you are interested in attending these classes. That is angel of curiosity in you telling you to seek knowledge. Everybody doesn't have that angel in them. It is due to whatever you've been doing, sitting in ibadat, doing good deeds, purifying your thoughts has led you to come here to seek this knowledge because you have fed that angel of curiosity in your being. And that angel desires you to continue to walk further, to seek more knowledge. So that is one example we talked about. The other example would be of light, that you are doing your worldly tasks and suddenly you remember, oh, you've not been doing zikr. That is also a light. When you sit in your ibadat or any other time, you're sitting in remembrance and you feel shakes in your body. Chatka laga. That is another sign that a frozen soul came to life. It became alive. And you felt that livelihood in that particle of your soul. You felt it physically. The examples are unlimited. It is unlimited. The more we walk on this path, we will know it. Our dreams, seeing Imam in our dream, flying in our dreams. There are unlimited indications of light a Mumin-i Salik can have. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. This is a very interesting question. How do we feel happy? It is difficult to feel happy as we fall asleep or we are not able to concentrate. If not a right, I think it's saying if it is not our right, how do we keep ourselves motivated to continue and feel happy and content with doing bandagi? How do we conquer this?
So I sense there are multiple questions. Let's try. When you say, how do we feel happy? I would take that question out of the time of Baitul Khayal. If we are not physically happy in our physical life for whatever reasons, it is difficult to be happy during the ibadat time. So the question would be, how do I become happy in my physical life in 23 hours? And the answer to that question is, if you are seeking knowledge, you will learn what the happiness is truly meant by. When we think of being happy in worldly sense, we do not know what is happiness. Remember that words in Kalam-e Maula? एक दिन खुशी से ढोल बजाया, दूजे दिन हुआ मुआ कोई गम, भली खुशहाली आके बदकेरी, दम दम अतकी होए सी न होए सी कम. So to be feeling happy, one has to walk on this path of true knowledge to learn what is that happiness. That's number one answer. And then when you sit in ibadat and you are saying, how can we feel happiness if it is not our right? There is lack of understanding or incomplete understanding. When one sits in ibadat, there is happiness. There is happiness. Not having the right is actually teaching us to stay humble, to not say, oh, I sat in ibadat, I have been attending Jamaat Khana, I have been learning this knowledge. Why you are not giving me your didar? A Mumin-i Salik cannot complain like that. You know, in Urdu we would say कि एहसान करते हैं क्या? अगर हम इबादत करते हैं तो क्या इमाम पे एहसान करते हैं? Are we favoring Mawla Baba when we are doing ibadat? No, not at all. We are his slaves. If you understand the right part in that sense, then there is no question of us being unhappy. The one who wakes up in ibadat, they will be happy because they will feel happy that they did the farman bardari. And third thing which you are saying, what if you fall asleep? What if you are not able to concentrate? Remember, we just studied Hasimam's Farman and Maula said, you cannot fail. If you are sitting in ibadat, you cannot fail. Believe me, to you, whoever you are, my friend, to be in this class, learning this knowledge is a reason of your success. There is no way you would be here if you were not successful in your ibadat. But remember, it's a preliminary success. It's a very beginning level success. In order to continue to walk on the path, you do need to continue to seek knowledge to be able to know wherever we are lacking so we can fix ourselves. And Imam, when says it is not right, it is not to make us feel bad or lacking or saying we are not doing enough. It is to remind us to stay humble. Because as soon as we say it is my right, then what is happening? It's all me, I did this, I should be having this. That is gurur. That is being very I-oriented. A Mumin-i Salik is always we, nachis, in humility. That is what Maula is teaching. So we do need to understand when Maula says it is not your right, meaning that Maula is not willing to give it to us. It is he's keeping the control with him. No, he's a loving father. He wants to give everything to us. But remember, he's our teacher too. He's teaching us that do not demand it, because as soon as we demand, you know what we say? It is all about me. It is mine. I should be given because I did it. No, that is not Mumin-i Salik. So remember, understanding of Imam's Farman is very important. Imam is saying, stay humble. Ji. And with time, you'll be able to conquer it. Because the last part was, how do we conquer it? It is a journey.
Same friend actually asked a little bit more elaboration on, when understanding this about ibadat, how do we train ourselves that there is no failure, as the Imam mentioned, but our human mind works as every action has a reaction? Question is, how do we stay motivated?
Subhanallah. So again, I hear two questions here. How do we stay motivated? Stay with like-minded friends. Like-minded friends who would remind you, who would motivate you, who have same angel of curiosity in them. And then you get connected with different friends who are on this path. Then you start seeing their desire to do more. You do riyazat with them, you become passionate, you get reminded. So being with like-minded friends will continue to give that desire to stay motivated. And there was in the beginning, there was something too. Can you repeat that? I felt there was some other thing was asked.
In understanding that, how do we train ourselves that there is no failure, as Mola is saying?
Thank you. So training part. So training is, again, I focus so much on 24 hours and not Ismail Azam Ibadat, because I feel you don't need any motivation for Baitul Khayal and Ibadat, because everybody focuses on Ibadat. What we forget is 23 hours. That if our deeds are not pure, no matter how regular you are, and Imam said, for Sultan Muhammad Shah says 40 years Ibadat, Hazim Imam said X numbers of years. It does not matter how many years of ibadat we have done, but if we do not follow the faramins in totality, based on conviction instead of convenience, we will not be able to train ourselves. Because we are doing what we like. Because what happens? Remember, we started this class with the ice cream cone and cherry on the top. We all hyper focused on the cherry. But cherry is on top of the cone. In other words, what we are saying that yes, we all want success in our Ismail Azam, we all want a jumpia jump, and we desire that training, that habit. But it's a gradual process, it's a learning curve. If we stay with the like-minded friends, continue to be reminded, then whatever flaws we have, we will identify it very quickly. Another thing I just got reminded, one of the friend just shared with me a few days ago that when she gets off the track, like we say, fall off the wagon, it takes a very long time to get back on the track. And that is an example of a friend who thinks they are capable of reminding themselves and they can do it on their own. When you become friends with like-minded friends, you always are talking about these things, reflecting, studying, learning, doing zikr. Everyone falls off, believe me. We are humans. We are becoming angels, right? When you fall off, it doesn't take long to get back on the track. Sometimes it's only seconds, minutes, hours, day, not more than that. That's the beauty of walking on the path and staying on this journey. Thank you.
Yali Madad, can I interrupt, please?
Jima.
Sorry, it's very interesting. Don't feel like leaving, but we have a student waiting for dua class. So I just quickly wanted to share, like when you said about a ladder, that reminds me one verse. I don't know if that fits here. Unche chadu ne unche chadu jo mara sutagurni vat. Can that be like ladder, like going up?
Yes, exactly. You're right. Yes.
Okay, so that reminds me that another thing, like yes, so nice to listen to that Farman all the time in the morning, and in the end Mola Papa says, sit is happiness, rise in happiness. So rise in happiness, that feels us good when we wake up. And another thing I want to share is when you say Isme Azam is that reminds me that verse Sat Sabada Hai Guru Hamara. So that, yeah,
Yes.
Guru Hamara, so I can think of.
Yes.
Okay,
That
Shukara ne bas Guru Sabada is Guru Hamara. I like to keep listening, but sorry I had to leave. So very humbly we say Shukar Mola ne Mola baddi seva badai ni kabul kare. Shukar Yali Madad Yala Bili.
जी नवीन साहिबा.
जी, so यहाँ पर हमारे पास एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन है. आपने इसको कवर किया है, लेकिन अगर आप थोड़ा सा elaborate करना चाहें. How do we know our soul has been awakening like each particles? How can we tell?
So I gave one example, let me repeat. Sometimes when you are sitting in ibadat or ilmi class, or you're doing zikr and you feel this shake in your body. That is one way of knowing, literally knowing, that one particle of your soul came to life, woke up. Ji.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Another question is there a way to recognize angels in this world?
Sure, yes, definitely. Walk on the path of knowledge. You will find angels among you. Angels don't have wings, visible wings, but there are angels among us. 100%. Ji.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Additional question is, friend is asking, understanding this concept of Allah's name as wings, should we only do 4 wings zikr so we progress faster? Or should we also focus on 1, 2, and 3 wings zikr as well?
So every name, right? The way we just heard this Ginan verse, right? Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara, and we always think of that Shabd being Isme Azam. But remember, every name of Allah, it's His name. The more angels we want, the more names we can recite. In the beginning, it is good practice to have one name. When we get used to it, we understand the meaning. Remember, we are not going to do any zikr just like a parrot. Then try 2 names, try 3 names. If you are someone who loves doing zikr, tasbihat, you can sit and do 1 name zikr, 2 name zikr, 3 name zikr, 4 name zikr. Why don't you? You can. But it takes time because every zikr has its own quantity to complete, to get to the completion. So remember, it is somehow our thinking that let me do 4 name zikr and elevate quickly. And that's where is the problem. We need to understand that it's a journey on the steps. We climb up step by step. If the 4 name is a 4th step, we got to first climb the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, and the 4th. I hope that helps us understand that we cannot think like that. That let me just get to the cherry. We have to put in the hard work which is required to get to the number 4. Having said that, if we want to practice the zikr of 4 wings along with 2 wings, 3 wings, and 1 wings, you can do that. You can surely do that. It is okay to do that. But to be able to complete any zikr, it has to be done in its quantity. For example, if I say Al-Hayy, it's a very small, simple 1 wing zikr, right? Al-Hayy, Al-Hayy, Al-Hayy. Remember, it has to be done in a quantity. In one account, it is said that it can be 124,000 times. When someone says 124,000 times, it's completed by one account of numbering. But for every soul, depending on our deeds, our meeting of conditions, that number differs actually. Therefore, it is important to do zikr in abundance. We need to do zikr in abundance. When we do zikr abundantly, and the way it has to be done, then it reaches to the stage of completion, meaning that wing is assigned to us. Now, with that wing, when we sit in Baitul Khayal Ibadat, we sit, focus, and fly. Ji.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. We have another question as the way you are counting the zikr, is it with the names of Allah?
All these zikrs are actually names of Allah, 99 names. Even our Isme Azam, if you want to look for your Isme Azam, it should be there in 99 names of Allah. Ji.
And how the Naqsh play the role in this wing theory?
So wings is a conceptual understanding, right? Because in our mind, we always think of angels having wings to fly, right? That's how Qur'an is allegorically helping us understand about wings. To give us the understanding of the angels, the more wings we have, the more quicker we will fly. But when you asked about the Naqsh, I had a Farman, Beautiful Farman. Let me see. So this is the Farman of Bethul Khel Mulakat, Lisbon, Portugal, July 7th, 2018. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In the past, I have given the Jamaat a naqsh, that is the script of the bowl. But you all know how to write the bowl that I have given. So I'm going to give a naqsh because you already have it. So concentrate on the bowl. I hope you got what Imam is saying. Imam is saying, naqsh is the script. There was a time in Jamaat when Jamaat was not educated. Today, Jamaat is educated. If I say Al-Wadud, you exactly know how to write what is the script of Al-Wadud in whatever language you want to write. So Imam is saying, I have given the Jamaat a naqsh, that is the script of the bowl. But you all know how to write the bowl that I have given. So I am going to give a naqsh. Imam is saying, even though you know it, I'm going to give you a script because you already have it too. So concentrate on the bowl. But then he says, concentrate on the bowl. What does that mean? Think about it. Then Mullah says, if you want to visualize the naqsh, you can visualize the naqsh. But I don't think it is necessary for your success. I prefer you to concentrate on the bowl. Concentrate on the bowl. You know how the bowl is written. If you need to concentrate on a naqsh, but I'm not saying you need to concentrate on the naqsh. If you wish to, you can. So what Imam is saying here, concentrate on the bowl, meaning that shabd, that word, what does it mean? Remember every word. Sata shabad hai guru hamara. Each shabd is a guru. It's a living personality. We need to concentrate on that word, on that bowl to know the living personality behind that word. And that comes with 3 stages: ilmul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen, haqqul yaqeen. First is the ilmul yaqeen. So when you talk of wings and naqsh, wings is a concept, naqsh is the script of the bowl, which Imam says you don't need to focus on it because you know how to write your bowl. I want you to concentrate on your bowl, not the naqsh. But if you want to, you can. I hope I've answered the question.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There's a beautiful question. What does this flying feel like with the wings acquired from the zikr? What I mean, how does that translate into our experience?
Joy, festivity, happiness. I would say, why not experience that? Because it is an experience. How can you describe it? Thank you so much, friends, for joining.
Yali Madad, thank you, Appa.
Yali Madad.
Thank you,
Yali
thank you.
Madad. Yali Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yali Madad ma, Yali Madad.